Hi, it's me, Tracy, your literary companion. Do you need a break? Would you like some time and space to read, work, or just rest and refresh your spirit? I'm holding space for you right here. Please join me on this really lovely rainy day for some reading, a little writing, and making a start on some planning for the new year. For our time together today, there will be reading, along with some time for a book chat. I'll share my December reading, and I'll put the chapters in the description box below so that you can skip ahead to something or double back. I will be working a little bit on some writing, working on my novel, as well as my Japanese studies. I am about a week behind on the language studies, but I will be able to catch up on that portion before the new year. For my Japanese cultural studies portion of my autumn curriculum, I have set for December. I will have to set that on hold because we will be traveling before Christmas, and realistically, I will not have enough time for that. So that module will be absorbed into my spring curriculum. That's part of the beauty of a personal curriculum, the flexibility. I know that some of you have been working on some independent personal studies this season, and I would love to hear what you are doing and how you are getting on with that. I might also share a peek into how I plan things for my life, creating, and the rest. We'll see where the day takes us. It's another day now, and for something different, I thought I would share a peek at how I plan things. I know that some are interested in such things, especially this time of year as we soon move into a new calendar year. So this section is just for play. If you'd like to skip ahead to another segment of the video, you can. Firstly, I apologize for the light. There is none today, especially not while it rains. We have entered the darker season, the darker time of year here in the north. I love this time of year. I love winter. It's great to turn inward to see what's working in life or what's not. See what new seeds want to be planted, figuratively speaking, and going slow, resting, which I think is an underestimated power of creative work, creative growth. So I like to be proactive in achieving what I want to desire, but I loosely hold the word productivity because I feel like that has some negative connotations, so I won't go there. But proactive is my word if I were to use one. I don't really use a lot of labels, but I need to note things down. My brain is too busy. Unless I write it down, nail it down, I will lose track. As you see here, I'm not using anything fancy. No fancy materials or expensive planners or notebooks. I keep things simple, relatively low cost, same with pens. So it's based on just finding a system that has worked for me, and I might dress up a notebook with some stickers. Nice little gold stars for achievement, because my inner 5-year-old still loves stickers. I love stationery, notebooks, paper, pens, and stickers. I do some basic planning in a calendar or planner that I purchase. And this particular one is produced by Grieg here in Norway. Just very simple. I think this is an A5 size that I use for just some very basic planning. And I just really like this very simple layout, which lends itself to a certain amount of customization. Throughout the planner, there are public holidays noted, but I go back in and I add holidays, some American holidays, occasions I celebrate in relation to my earth-based spirituality, phases of the moon. I have had some questions about my spiritual practice, requests for a video, and I will think about that. I appreciate the curiosity. Here in the planner, though, I do note other things along with the holidays, birthdays, other occasions, things like that, as well as appointments, not the least, as well as tasks throughout the day. Here, this is very simply laid out for each hour of the day from the morning, and sections where I can note special tasks, who I might need to be in touch with that day, and just some notes. Sometimes in this section I will add, most of the time, I will add my workouts, how far I've been walking, and things like that. I'm still in the process of filling in a lot of pertinent details for next year into this particular calendar and planner. This is my 12-week planner. All of my creative work is planned using a 12-week, 4 quarters of the year system. It's just a very simple, inexpensive spiral notebook. A few pages in the front are saved for different notes, as well as an individual plan for each quarter. And I make up my own grid for 3 to 4 goals for each quarter, and a weekly plan, a weekly tasks plan for each goal. Just very simple layout, space to plan the tasks, as well as on the end to do certain tracking, kind of bullet point style. And I use colored pens to differentiate between the different goals and different tasks. Blue for booktube planning, green for writing goals, purple for my knitwear designs, and red for website. I'm hoping to get a new website going this year after having to close my other one. I won't go into all of that, but plans for next year. It's very exciting. This does not take long to set up at all. I love just sitting with a cup of tea and just putting in the grid, and I create each quarter at a time. It's just a nice task to do, and it's just a very basic framework to work with. I know that there are fancier systems, but this one works for me. And so from week 2 is really when things will begin, for me at least, after the Christmas and the New Year break. And on the back of each week, each page, I leave this blank to save for journaling. And this is where my creative dream report is done at the end of each week. And this is based on the creative dream dream status report devised by Andrea Schroeder of the Creative Dream Incubator. I love her work, which supports creative people and growing their dreams, but also tending the spiritual heart as well. I will leave her link in the description box. So here is where I note how each week has gone, how the goals are taking shape, what's working or what's maybe not working, and how I might be able to fix that, as well as celebrating creative wins, but also tending to my heart as well. This becomes just a landing page for everything that's on my heart at the end of the week and what's been going on with my creative dreams as well. I also map out more personal goals as well, like my Japanese language and cultural studies that I've been doing this autumn, as well as things related to health. I guess I'm a planner at heart. I just find it easier to note things down. And at the back, I won't show everything just yet, but at the back I have my lists of ideas, plans for videos for my booktube, and as well as other things related to creative goals, which hopefully you will see taking shape this new year. The reason I make my own planner, and I've been doing a version of this for years, and the 12-week planning for the past 2 to 3 years, which I have found very effective for helping me to reach goals and achieve some things that I desire. The reason is that most commercial planners have often lacked something for me anyway, and so I just started getting a plain notebook and making my own. And so I have other notebooks that I use for different things. Smaller notebooks for my poetry writing. This will be a new one I'll be starting using in January. I do like a pretty notebook for writing projects like my poetry. And this one is for my knitting designs. This is great with the grid paper. That way it's very useful for plotting certain knitting charts and adding sketches to as well. My knitwear designs often start with a sketch or a schematic of some kind. I've been using this it's very thick, it has lots of grid pages, and I've really been enjoying using this one for, as you can see, a few years now, and this is really great size. I can carry it around with me if I want to or need to. And I have, again, just a very simple spiral notebook. As you see, there's really Nothing fancy here, just a simple notebook. And this particular one is related to writing and writing projects. I have writing related things on my laptop as well. But this notebook is one that I have going for writing ideas that I just need to get some ideas down very quickly, or just develop some ideas, some character sketches, sometimes ideas for what I hope will become articles for different things, for a future website, and just another landing place for my writing. So just a little behind the scenes here with some planning for next year. I have a cup of tea, and now I'll get on a bit more with planning in this small calendar planner. December now marks the end of my year-long Jane Austen and Regency reading project, as well as the 250th anniversary of the much-loved author's death. I've read all of Jane Austen's works many times throughout the years, and they are stories I return to time and again. For this project, I was primarily focusing on her 6 completed novels, as well as a few authors from the Regency period. The last book and the last remaining Austen novel on my list for this year was Emma. In Emma, we follow Emma Woodhouse, who is a clever, confident, and wealthy young woman who she takes pride in her matchmaking skills. And after successfully pairing off her governess with a local widower, Emma becomes very determined to arrange a romance for her new friend, Harriet Smith. Her meddling ways, however, lead to much confusion, misunderstanding, and emotional missteps along the way. Through these experiences, though, and with the steady guidance and care of her friend, Mr. Knightley, Emma grows in self-awareness and recognizes the consequences of her well-meant but misguided interventions, and ultimately discovers her own true feelings for Mr. Knightley. This novel explores themes that Austen does so well: social class exploration, love, self-deception, and personal growth, with Austen's characteristic wit, insight, and humor. Emma is my least favorite of the Austen novels, though. I find the heroine's willful, meddlesome nature has been problematic for me to connect with, but that said, among all of Austen's heroines, Emma undergoes the most significant transformation, which I really appreciate. As with Mansfield Park, I don't think much of the men in this particular story either, which would be too lengthy to get into, as I wish to keep this just a chatty little review for now. Mr. Knightley, I do like Mr. Knightley, and bless him for him. He is fond of Emma no matter what, and he is likely her best bet for a partner given the circle of people in this tale. This story is told in such a lively way that it remains a delightful read. Nonetheless, I really enjoyed revisiting Emma. I will share my thoughts on my year of reading Jane Austen in a separate video. Some more reading this month, some nonfiction. I just finished a book by Thomas Espedal, a Norwegian writer. This is Gå, eller Kunsten å leve et vilt og poetisk liv. This one is translated into English, and the translation would be Tramp, or The Art of Living a Wild and Poetic Life. I'm not sure about the translation of the word tramp. I would have used the word walk. Å gå in Norwegian is to go, often in association with the word walk. And anyway, translation aside, here we follow Thomas Espedal as he abandons ordinary routines and sets out on foot, walking through cities, coastlines, entire countries, treating the movement itself, walking, as a philosophy. His journeys take him across Norway, Wales, Germany, Greece, Turkey, and beyond, many places, many countries. And the book is a great blend of memoir, literary meditation, and travel writing, but not the travel that is obsessed with the final destination, but with the act of getting there, of arriving, of being changed by the process of traveling. For Espedal, walking becomes an act of rebellion and self-creation. The pauses between his travels form their own kind of terrain, a private holding space, a quiet room where he waits for the next version of himself to take shape, and each place he visits becomes an opening for growth. And along the way, he meets memorable characters and situations and grapples with what freedom is and the ache of rootlessness, as well as the desire to live a life that feels deliberately poetic. I really love that, a life more poetic. And yes, the way Espinal disappears into these long, very open-ended journeys would be very difficult for most of us to replicate. We have responsibilities, work, there's safety factors, time and experience all matter, but the book carries a very distinct kind of power, and it's really beautifully crafted, often lyrical at times, and offers an invitation for us readers to step more fully into our own lives, and with a genuine heart that is more a conscious, open-hearted way of being and living right where we happen to be. I read a fair bit in Norwegian, but most of it is not translated into English. So I'd like to share what translated literature here that I can. So here is another Norwegian author for you to try. A special read at the moment is A Woman in the Polar Night. This is Christiane Ritter's memoir of spending a year in the remote Arctic of Spitsbergen in the far north of Norway. Christiane Ritter was an Austrian painter and writer, though this is the book that she is most noted for. In 1934, she joined her husband, Hermann Ritter, who was a marine officer and glaciologist he was on an expedition in Spitsbergen and had been there some time studying the glaciers. The book is Christiane's year-long account of living in an isolated hut in the far north along with her husband. What begins as a harsh, almost unbearable encounter with the Arctic nature, the Arctic cold, darkness, and loneliness, slowly turns into a journey of awe and inner transformation. Ritter's memoir reveals how profound isolation strips down life to its bare essentials and a sparkling, deep self-discovery. She writes with reverence about the Arctic's stark, untamed wild beauty and its near magical silences. This is a rare look at a female voice in polar literature, and she offers an introspective and quiet, rather than a heroic story. This is immersed in the endless night, and she wrestles with existential questions, finding unexpected meaning and clarity and a sense of the sacred and all of the wildness. There's a kind of spiritual peace in one of the world's most desolate and beautiful landscapes, the far north. This is not some heroic climb to understand nature, but rather an adventure of the heart, turning towards nature. This is such an engaging and compelling memoir, and this was my first time reading this, and I would have added it to my winter books video if I had finished it in time for that filming. But I'm so glad to have read this now as we head into winter time here in the north. This book moved me so much as I have been awed by the beauty I have found living here in Norway, and not least fallen in love with the winter season which it instills such a deep reverence in my heart. And learning to love winter has been one of the greatest joys of my life. Thank you so much for joining me on this lovely rainy day. It is early December as I film, and we had a pretty rainy autumn here, and now we are just waiting for the beauty of winter snow. But we'll take a rainy day, which is perfect for going slow and doing some things that we love, or maybe finishing up something. Please let me know if you have enjoyed this time along with me, and what you have been doing or what you have been working on. And let me know if you would like to see another video or something like this in the new year. I have a lot more in store for us in 2026. And so until next time, I wish you, as always, much love and many blessings. I will see you again here very soon.